Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics Q&A live show on, it is Tuesday, the 25th of March, as we gear up for round 3, putting a really shit pile of crap of round 2 behind us, and we're looking forward to, hopefully, some more sunshine. We want to see the light at the end of the tunnel. We felt like we got sort of shut into the tunnel. We want to push through and get through to the other side. I'm your host, Bales, and you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials, also making really sort of bad analogies like I just did then. But joining me is my co-host and fellow AFL Fantasy Fanatic, Jordox. Jordox, mate, how are you? You feeling a little bit better 48 hours removed from our pretty much instant reaction on the Sunday night?
I feel heaps better, mate. It's not just your bad analogies that keep me going. I think this year it's been the worst start I've had, and I know a lot of other people are in that boat, but I'm just seeing the opportunity in that. I've never come from so far behind to have a good rank. So that's the challenge, and it starts now.
Yes, exactly. I have had a few people hit me up with the pitchfork saying about Jordox talking about Clayton Oliver and he's a good option, everything like that. So, mate, you might have a few answers to have on the pod about Clayton Oliver tonight. So
We'll see. We'll see.
Exactly.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, go on.
Well, I was just going to say, like, we thought he was back last year. He wasn't. So let's just cool our jets. We'll see.
But joining us is two very special guests, and they've featured already in the preseason. Jumping on for his second of in the preseason, then into the season proper. It is Jordy Decina. Jordy, mate, how are you? How's the start to the season gone for you? Hopefully, a bit better than us.
Yeah, pretty good. Thanks for having me on again. Yeah, not too bad. I'm around the 9,000 mark at the moment, so. Gone pretty good. I think I've got most of the rookies as well. So I'm pretty keen to get past these couple buy rounds, because I reckon once we hit gather round, that'll be maybe when those ranks start to come in. So pretty keen to keep building the side and just see what happens. But yeah, gone pretty well. Glad to see Port get a win on the weekend as well. So pretty happy.
Yeah, exactly. How did you go in the round just gone? So what was your score? Obviously you said your rank, but how did you end up scoring in the first of the best 18?
Yeah, I got 18-11, so probably not the highest compared to some others I've seen around, but yeah, not too bad. I think that's I've probably maybe just under par there, but yeah, sort of. I think the team value is looking good, so just keep plugging away.
What is your team value at the moment, if you've got it sort of there in front of you?
It's 19.311 mil and 58k in the bank.
Yeah. God damn it. I'd be right up there if not for fucking Tom Stewart.
I think Liam did a tweet, and I think that's close-ish to the 1,000th mark, I think, for team value. So see how we go.
Yeah, exactly. Bloody Tom Stewart. I'm sure we'll chat about him and plenty of other issues tonight. But joining us again, he's become a very regular guest jumping on with us. It's probably, I've lost count about how many times we've jumped on, but he's always very generous with his time and sort of a late emergency call up if ever we need one. It is last year's runner-up, Tom Hales. Tom, mate, how are you? How's your start to the season gone?
Hi, Bales. Hi, everyone. Yeah, my start to the season, I have the hangover. I'm like Sydney were before this week. I'm 0-2. I'm down. I'm languishing 16k plus, but now I put the hat on today to channel the good finish last year and try and give some good advice and turn that ship around.
Yeah, exactly. How did you end up scoring this past week just gone?
I had an 18-19, so similar to Geordie. Not great, not absolutely disastrous, but still not where I want to be. Had a 5k round rise last from my round 1, so heading in the right direction. Just got a few issues to deal with.
You scored over 1,800 and had 5,000 spots up with Tom Stewart.
Yeah, and Andy Brayshaw. Yeah, I'm quite happy with the overall structure of my side. There's just certain players who I've picked to be point scorers at the start of the year who aren't doing much point scoring. So time to fix them up. focus on that cash gen and really drive into the kind of what I think is the most important part of the year.
Yes, exactly right. So, plenty to be looking forward to. Obviously, 2 more weeks of best 18, and then we go into the best 22 weeks in round 5, which is gather round, which is good because I know Jordox today booked his flights. He's heading over to watch the Crowies, which will be good. So, plenty of exciting
Can't
things
wait.
coming up.
First time I'll be at Adelaide Oval. Can you believe that?
As a Crows fan.
Well, you love it.
Yeah, it's going to be sick.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we'll chat about a couple of quick topics before we get into the questions that people are leaving in the chat. So if you are watching live now and would like a question answered, then leave your questions because we're going to be getting to a heap tonight. I know there's a lot of issues you guys are sort of wanting to know what to do with a few of these problem players. So hopefully we can give you a few answers there as we sort of lead into round 3. So I think the biggest issue of the week, Jordox, is Harry Perryman, I feel. I think that him being on bye and putting up a dud score, obviously a few injuries at Collingwood has meant that his role has shifted a bit, but also it's just annoying to have him sitting there with that 43 because that score didn't count for me, but it was only because Sam Wicks outscored him by 1 whole point. That was the only reason he didn't count for me. So is it as simple as Perryman's on bye, he must go?
No, it's never that simple. And the fact that he's on the bye is what complicates it because, we're not talking the traditional bye rounds of yesteryear where there's a whole bunch of players off. So you really can only trade out guys on the bye. This is different. It's just 2 teams. And if you've got bigger fish to fry or other players to get out who are going to drop money this week, the good thing about Perryman, as bad as he's been, is he's not going to cost you any money or any terrible on-field points this week. He's sitting out. So, he'd be up there. He'll be probably one of the most commonly traded out guys, but it's not as simple as he's a must trade out because he's actually not.
Yeah. I guess the thing I want to ask you about as well with the trade out is that if you don't trade him out and Carnage hits again next week and you're forced to hold him, is that something that would push you more towards trading him? Or are you thinking that because he's going to lose a lot of cash, right? He's break-in's 104. He doesn't want the ball. Like the thirst for him is the complete opposite to when you look at some of the other players. He just doesn't want the ball. So is that sort of a bit of another factor as well that you'll be considering?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't think I'd be really that surprised if they had a bye this week. They come back the next week against Collingwood and he scores a 90. I wouldn't be that surprised. He did it 2 weeks ago. The frustrating part of Perryman and what's going to be hard about owning him and has been so far is it's unpredictable. His role's unpredictable and his output's unpredictable. But if I'm stuck with him, like really stuck with him in 2 weeks' time, I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah. Have Geordie or Tom, have either of you guys got differing thoughts? Is he a must trade for you?
I actually got rid of him last week. Didn't have too many things, so I went into Holmes last week just to try and be a bit aggressive and get ahead. Bit unfortunate with Holmes. I thought he would do better against Saints, but obviously Baz was laid out, and I think Ross said he was going to tag Baz, and then he tags Holmes. But I think Holmes would be better for the run. But yeah, I mean, I think I'd try and trade him. The only thing is who can you go to? Unless you go up and you've got cash, there's only a few options around that price. I mean, I think maybe Jake Bowie was one we're talking about. Fraser, if you haven't got him. I think Farrell popped one, but these guys, they might be good for the next couple of weeks, but are they keepers? Don't know. And would you have to trade them again in a couple of weeks? That's sort of what I was thinking about last week. So I was like, I went to Holmes because I thought I could hold him pretty much until their bye and look at the upgrade season later in the year if I need to get him up to a higher guy. I just thought maybe he could even sneak top 6, but with the low one on the weekend. But yeah, I'd probably look at trading if you can, depending on what's going on with your team.
Yeah. Well,
Tom?
Yeah, Tom?
Yeah, I kind of echo what you guys say. Like, I think I'm in a situation, I think a lot of coaches are, where you've got lots of different issues. And I think you've got to pick your poison. So Perryman, he's priced at about 70. What do you actually want from him going forward. What's done is done. What do you want going forward over the next 6-8 weeks? Are you happy with him having a mixed role, maybe going 90, 60, 50, 80 with the odd maybe pop score if he's got no jobs to do? Or do you have someone that you like who can maybe jump on, who maybe has a little bit more certainty, but maybe a little bit less ceiling? So I think he is a must go this week for me, because I just don't see any security or any world where he turns around and does something from the evidence we have over the 3 games of footy that Colin would have played, that he's going to have any kind of consistent scoring ability going forward.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about picking your poison and a few other issues. One that I know me and you have got, I don't believe Geordie or Jordox have got him, Tom Stewart. So obviously with the PCL, I was doing a watch on for the thing. I knew he was out. I knew he wasn't going to play, and he might come out and he'd be done. People on the stream tried to give me a little bit of false hope and say, he'll be fine, he'll come out. And I was like, no, he's not coming out. And lo and behold, another first quarter injury, another low score, and a huge break even. But surprisingly, I guess to me, I thought this was a 4+ week injury and is must trade. But this is a test this week, so there's a chance that he actually plays, whether he does or not. But I guess the fact of the matter is, if he's a test this week, if he doesn't play this week, he's probably going to play next week. So is it, Tom, is it a fact that you think he's still a 90+ guy, he's going to drop a bit of cash, and we're going to want to probably bring him back in anyway because he's going to get to a point where he's going to be incredible value? Have we just got to hold him as Stewart owners and just go, okay, he might drop 100K from here, but hopefully he makes that back up and puts up some good scores for us. And then when the crowd gets onto him, we've already got him, we can get onto the other guy.
I think that's basically my decision of the week. Like, that's my big, I want Perryman gone. My big decision of the week is, do I trade Stewart? I think if he plays this week, I think I will definitely hold. It's probably only going to be one, but if he misses, then that's the decision. I want to hold him. So I think there's other more beneficial plays long term that I can do this week if I hold him. But if it comes out later in the week that upon further analysis that it's going to be longer, or he injured it further running, I know he did a little bit of running away from the group today, so he is back running, which is a positive sign. I want to hold, but I don't know if I will.
Yeah.
And who are they playing this week, Bales?
They got the Lions,
the Gabba,
and obviously
in the wet.
Yeah,
I don't know. This has got a. I don't know if I'm on my own here. This is got trap written all over it to me. They'll name him up and they'll pull him on the night just to hurt you, because it's what Geelong do.
Well, that's okay. That 1 week is fine. I'd
almost rather if he missed this week, because in the wet he's probably going to have a bad score and go down a heap in price. Whereas if he's, I think the week, I don't know who exactly they've got the week after, but if he was to maybe put up a better score there and not drop as much, that's almost what I'm hoping for. But I guess if he plays, then that's fine. But we were talking a bit off camera about
his run's not great. I will say his run isn't great now. Brisbane got Melbourne. Then Melbourne's good. Crows isn't bad, but then it's
he loves playing the Crows. Crows love kicking it to him.
Hawthorn,
2 intercepts, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that was. I remember watching that. I had him at the time. It was great.
Just like with the whole naming thing, like they are playing out the Gabba, so if we can get eyes, I'm sure someone will tweet something. But if he's on the plane, would you think, if he's on the plane, would they then pull him? Once he's in Brisbane, like that would be. If we can, if he's not on the plane, it'd be silly, yeah. So, and that could help the decision. That's the same with Baz as well. Obviously he's a calf test.
The one thing I will say is, where are Geelong VFL playing? Because if they're playing Brisbane as well away, they're taking a huge squad with them.
I'll look that up right now, Tom. Good question.
Yeah. But as I said to you guys before we started recording as well with Stewart, is that we've seen with Bailey Smith, Geelong have always been cautious with players. They didn't do like what Port did with Rosie last year, where they played him when he really probably shouldn't have. Whether that was Port's fault or Rosie's fault, who we'll never know. But I think if he's not right to play, he won't play this week. But the fact that he's running now, and he's a test, there's a chance if he's not back this week, he's back next week, which for me is why I'm leaning towards holding him, because I think Perryman is probably a bigger issue in my own team than a Tom Stewart. So, but Jordy, a couple of midfield guys. So, as you said, you traded Perryman last week. I traded Ollie Hollands. Again, of course, I can't get the full reward of that because I have Tom Stewart on my team and I've got a lot of other issues. But Ollie Hollands, 48, has the role, just isn't, whether he's inexperienced in this role or the teammates just don't want him, or a mixture of both, he's just not getting it done for us. And then a Will Day, who obviously we've talked about a little bit, obviously with this tough run about to sort of really hit now with Giants, by then Port Adelaide, has dropped back-to-back 70s. The 75 on the weekend was probably unlucky in a way, probably could have been a 90 if it wasn't for the free kicks against a few other things. But where do you sit with these guys? Are these more of a priority than a Perryman because they're taking up a midfield spot? Are they lower priority because they're, I guess you feel like they're a bit safer in term over Perryman? Where would you rank these guys in terms of priorities?
So, like for my team, I don't have Sanders either. So Hollands for me is like the biggest trade out at the moment. I'd love to get him up to Callahan this week, coming off the bye. Like that would be amazing. Like I really like Callahan this week, and like I guess you could even look at Day, but that would be a straight swap. But yeah, I'm pretty much looking at trading Holland straight out. The thing is, and Tom mentioned it before, I have Lindsay on the bench. So, if I went a Hollands up to a Callahan, Lindsay's staying on the bench there, maybe I go Hollands down to like a Max Hall or someone, one of these rookies, and I can put Lindsay on, and then I can do something else with the team. So that's sort of what I'm looking at this week with my trades. And I'm probably going to look at whole Day one more until his bye. Obviously, yeah, Tom's got some thoughts on him this week with the tag, with the Bedford tag, and he reckons, what was it, Tom? I reckon he can drop a 60 this week, which is not good.
I think that's best case, quite honestly. I just, who doesn't fight tags well doesn't will. There's certain players who, when they get tagged, can, like Bont is a master of fighting a tag and getting a 90.
Dawson.
Going forward, Dawson's great. Going forward, kicking 2-3 goals and getting to a decent score, which I think Will Day just goes, cool. Hi, mate. We'll just hold hands for 2 hours and, oh, look, we won. So I don't like it because we will Day, they also have Port after the bye. It's not just, it's 3 weeks of really red matchups and a bye in the middle for me.
Yeah.
But I've got a question for the non-Stewart owners. Would you trade Stewart or Will Day first?
That's a good question. My instinct is Stewart. Yeah, I'll stay with Stewart.
I'm probably leaning to, well, I've got this decision. I feel like I'm still leaning towards Day because Day's not keeper, whereas Stewart realistically could. And when I say keeper, I mean keep till the buys. Obviously, that's I guess the new term of keeper is you keep them to the buys and then you trade in luxury season, right? So I feel like Stewart's a guy that I think Day is as well, but I feel like Stewart's probably closer to a top 6 to 8 defender when he's fit and flying compared to what Day is.
But there's just there's always something with Stewart every year.
But he's got that the way now. He's got that the way. There's always one thing he's got that the way. So hopefully he knows.
No, there'll be 2. Well, there was 2 last year because I picked him up when he was cheap mid-year. He stopped scoring and he got injured in the last round. The thing with Day as well, Tom, and I think, you make valid points, but he is 23 and it is a challenge for young mids when they break out and emerge and then they have to deal with the tag. So I agree with what you're saying in terms of the run and the position, but in terms of Will Day struggling with tags, I wouldn't put a line through him because he's still young, and the better that Hawthorn midfield gets as a unit, and it is getting better by the week before our eyes, he's going to get much better at shaking the tag.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, to me, it's not like it's not a black book or red book of never agains ever. I just think for these next 3 weeks.
Yeah, which is fair.
The reason why I'm leaning Day over Stewart is very my team dependent as well. I currently have Lindsay on the bench with Nod at M7. I have effectively 2 rookies in the forward line. So I actually want to do Day to a forward to bring Lindsay on and a rookie off there for a mini restructure.
Yeah.
So it's more, there's more things I can do with that trade with my side than, because I think these early buys, we're literally just posturing to get our best 22 for gather round round 5. How we get there, doesn't really matter. And like, I had a poor week and I dropped maybe 100 points. Like, each 100 points is just 2 good captain scores later in the year. Get 2 good captain scores, 50 more than the people who maybe captain the standard captain. You get a unique captain that pops, and it's like, oh, I've made that back up. So it's just trying to get your side in the best state possible to attack to leave the early buys to really attack that upgrade season.
Yeah.
Jordy, quick in a word, Day or Stewart, who goes out this week if it's your team? You can have more than one word. I just meant finish the discussion with your thoughts.
Let's go with Stewart because of the injury.
Yeah.
Okay, I already said to you guys before pre-pod, this is already a stressful week, and it's just you're making it more stressful. You're trying to get this change.
I'm there with you, Bales. Don't worry.
Yeah. I love the weeks where I'm just like, lockout lifts on Sunday, bang bang. I know what trades I'm doing. They're locked in, and that's it. But this week,
they're the worst, Bales, because then Thursday night games.
You know me, mate. You know me. I look at 50,000 options, and then it's almost people at the end of the day then just go, Bales, just pick an option. Don't keep looking at it.
It's Tuesday, Bales. You shouldn't be stressed Tuesday. At least save it for Wednesday.
I need to step back. I need to have a look at the team and analyze it, and then you go with the thing. So, we'll see what happens. But let's get into all these questions that all the wonderful listeners are leaving us. So again, as I said before, keep popping them through in the live chat there. If you would like a guaranteed answer and you would want to leave a super chat, then feel free. But we'll try and get to as many questions to get to your question here. But we will start off with good friend of the show. It says here his name's Hugh, but I know for a fact that that's a good friend, Louis, from the Pod. So he's saying here, what line should coaches be prioritising to be in good shape come best 22? I'd hate to have 2 rookies on field in defence or up forward, and it feels like we have more than enough midfield options. So, Jordy, what are your thoughts with Louis' question there, and what sort of line would you be prioritising to be in good shape? Obviously, we want our whole team to be prioritised, but what line, I guess, are you probably looking to prioritize first and have maybe less rookies on than the other?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, defense wise, there's that Pryor, there's your trainer, there's your Reed. I mean, ideally, you probably wouldn't want 2 of those on field. You probably want maybe 1 on field, come round 5. I've currently got 1 in my team. So I think I got SDK at round at D5. So I think I'd probably be looking at that. I know Tom said he had 2 rookies up forward. So I think, Tom, you might be looking at that 1 rookie forward. But I think, I think I would probably target defense just because of the lack of options first and then forward. The thing is that we might have a couple of defense options. Like you've got O'Sullivan sort of put his hand up this week. Bice could be a trade in next week. I know he only got 64, but he actually looked pretty good. And I think, if he can push maybe a 70 on that week that we need him. There's talk that Travaglia might get a little debut this week. Not sure on his scoring. Obviously did well on the VFL, but whether he can do it at AFL level or if he's sub. But we might have a couple options there that might be better than your trainer and your Reeds. But I think if you can ideally if you can have 1 at D6, that would be probably ideal, I reckon, for round 5. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I think you do. I think, as you rightly said, I completely agree. I think you want maximum 1 in the defence and the forward line. And I would say absolutely maximum 1 in the defence line. I don't see any of those guys as a consistent 50 scorer. I know Zach Reed has popped 2 60s, but if he's sat there, he might not even play this week.
Just with Zach Reed, before you continue, Tom, as well, onto that point, he's had 40-point halves in both games, and then he's backed it up with a 14-point half in the second half in round 1, and then a 9-point half, I believe, or 10-point half this week just gone. So as you're saying, if he puts 2 of those halves together, that's a 20 or a 30 potentially on the cards.
I think what Tom was saying too. I'm pretty fearful for Reed's spot in the side this week. So watch this space.
I think he could be the Zach Reed of last year, who played every round for me. So thanks, Zach. You played every round. You got the captain.
At least he's made 70 odd K this year. At least it's not
exactly.
like last year where he was stuck on.
Exactly. So I think maximum one in the defence, probably maximum one in the forwards, just due to the because we have those mid rookies. We have Levi. We have Lindsay. If Draper shakes the vest, his scoring potential looks amazing. We have these guys emerging for our midfield who are still going to be able to score and at the price, sit or very similar price to these guys who aren't scoring. So if you can, that's what my big push is over the next couple of weeks, is get those good rookies in my midfield on the ground, get rid of the underperforming mid-prices in my midfield, get them into defence and forward, get those defensive and forward rookies off my ground. So that's where I definitely see where you want to head.
Yeah, agreed. I think we're still all fine with having 2 or even 3 rookies in the midfield. Obviously, Lindsay and Ashcroft are there, and I dare say I think Lawler's been pretty impressive the last 2 weeks. I know last week he was on 20 odd in 3 quarters, but he had a lot of CBAs in the last quarter. He's getting more CBAs, and I think he's safe for a 50 to 60 score, which I think is better than these defenders and forwards. So if you're looking at Lawler v Davidson on field or Lawler v... Lawler and Davidson probably 50-50, but like Lawler versus a Reed or a trainer, I'd much rather Lawler on field. Obviously, caveat to that is it's taking a midfield spot compared, but the good thing is Lawler and Levi Ashcroft and these guys will get forward status in round 6 as well. So you might be able to, if you've got a Sanders, you can chuck him into your midfield in round 6, trade into a midfielder, and then you've got a rookie in your forward line. So plenty of good thoughts there. But thanks, Louis, for the question there, mate. Hope you are going well. Going through some other questions here. So MJ's got this question, Geordie. So he's saying, love the content, lads, and well done on your captain picks. Thanks, mate. I know captains are going pretty well for us at the moment. 2 trade choices, Perryman to Bowie and Hollands to Saligo as the first combo, or Perryman to Nasai Wangani Miller and Xavier Lindsay. So I'm assuming that's Hollands out as well.
I'll be doing the second one. I think Lindsay is is an unreal rookie that is going to make you probably another 200K. And Wangani Milera is I think he's a top 6 defender. I've got him in my side at the moment. He's looking brilliant. He should push 100, 105. So I think those 2 could be keepers. Whereas I think Bowie, Saligo, obviously they're scoring, but you might have to retrade them out later in the year. So that's where I would sit with that one.
Yeah, I'd go to the second option as well. I think Lindsay, you got to get in. You got to get him. It's the last week probably to almost do it because he's going to be over 500K, and then you're thinking, he's got some to mate, but if there was a vest or something there, then that cash will still, hopefully not. This bloody vest, I hate this sub rule. But just quickly on Wayne Miller, Geordie. So I had a look on Moreira's Magic. So obviously shout out to Selby there. Obviously got the tools and everything on there. It's priced at 104, right? And we bang on obviously this point of the year and going value. He's got Richmond this week, which is great, but then it follows up with, I believe, Port Adelaide and GWS, and then it's got a couple of trickier games in there. They've got like a Freo and a few others there. But what are your thoughts on getting a guy like a Nasai who priced at 104, okay, might be a few points unders, like he could go 105, 106, but he's probably not huge value compared to like maybe a Farrell is priced in the mid-80s and he goes 90, 95, maybe a Bowie at 690 odd K, maybe he's priced at 71, he maybe goes 85. Like, would you prefer to go these value guys, or do you think it's a bit team dependent, and if you need a guy that's a safe defender, you'd be happy to pay a fair price for Nasai?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the defense, because we don't have many options there, you might, obviously, there probably is maybe only a couple points, or he might even just maintain a 104, or might even go slightly under that. But I think just with the defense options, we're sort of limited. And I think, this is sort of what I did last week. I went up to a Holmes and I've already gotten a side just because I'm worried about our defensive options, in a few weeks. There might be some guys that present, but I think with defense, it's sort of like the preseason. A lot of guys are paying up for Sheasel, even though he was probably a little bit overpriced, but they just wanted to lock in a clear D1. So I'm still pretty happy to do it, even price at 104.
Yeah, I think you're still a good target and you'll be a pretty solid guy. I still think Sinclair's the guy that they're tagging, but Nasai's been playing pretty well. Maybe that shifts at some point.
He could go to Sinclair as well. I think either or are great options.
Yeah. If you had to pick one, hearing Holmes in DT Lemon talking about this on the pod, could you go Sinclair as a point of difference? Obviously, he's not going to be as highly selected as a Nasai, or are you backing in maybe Nasai, maybe Sinclair is still the main tag target?
Yeah, or probably like what we did see a bit of tag on Wangani Malira, wasn't it? I think last year. I think they're both great options. I think if Sinclair's, you need that little bit of extra coin that you might need, I would be getting one of those guys, I think. And the Saints have that cool buy with Freo as well. So yeah, I think they're both great. I think, I think we saw the tag from Wangani Malira last year, but I'd still be with those options in defense. I'd still be happy to get one of those two. Yeah,
you're steering clear of the Sheezels, the Whitfields, the Zorkos, particularly Whitfield and Zorko, who have got great runs. Obviously, Zorko, bit of a flag. Obviously, the weather this week, obviously not great, but they've both got good runs. Could you pay up for them and hope that they go 120 in this good run, or is that still just like that's not the sort of trade you're wanting to make at this time of the year?
I mean, you probably could. I probably would. I might get Tom to, like, obviously being up there would, like, paying up for these guys at this time of year. Like, I know Sinclair and Wangani Malira are quite pricey, but would you go one higher and go, a Zorko or Whitfield, or would you just save that little bit of coin? It might be that 50 to 100K just for the next week.
This point of year was very much trying to get on the guys who are going to score like a premium but price like a mid-pricer. So I think this week last year I went Grundy to Cherry. That kind of trade. So I'd be more looking in the very, very top of that would be the Nasai Sinclair price would be the very, very highest. I am tempted by Zorko. His run is an utter disgrace. I don't know how it got fixtured by the.
That's not the most English thing to say. I've heard that in so many English things. It's hilarious.
So I have looked, but it's a lot of cash to get up there. 1.14 million is a lot of coin. So I'd be more looking at where I'm looking is at the Farrell, Bowie, maybe even a Dan Rioli if you want a pod. To try and get the guy who's going to score at 100 or 95 to 100 over the next 8-10 weeks, but priced like where all the mid prices are. I don't think there's anyone at a cheaper price. I think Bowie's probably the only one that I'm even mildly interested in below 700k. Yeah.
Cool. We'll keep moving through. Obviously, very, very good discussion around defenders there. So Sean's got this one. Jordox, we haven't had a couple of minutes since we've last heard from you, but he's got this one. Hey, guys, is Ranken a more important trade-in because he's a top 6 forward than, say, Kane Farrell, who has a lower break-even but more cash to make? So obviously take the Kroger's goggles off. I know I have got them on as well. And
not possible.
At that, but
go.
What are your thoughts?
A more important trade because, well, I wouldn't say necessarily because of that, because who's to say Farrell's not going to be that? But I think on what we've seen and what's Ranken's break even? Because I'm not sure what that 70 did to him.
So his break even this week, I believe when I last looked, it was in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. So Isaac Ranken has a break even of
86.
Yeah. 86. Okay. Well, it's very gettable. I'd be more trusting of Ranken out of that duo.
Yeah. And the thing is, well, like Farrell's had 2 great matchups. Collingwood at the G, and obviously they were beaten, but Collingwood do allow points to defenders, and then in obviously Richmond. But he does have Essendon and St Kilda next 2, which is 2 other positive matchups.
Yeah. But look at it this way. look at it this way: if we're saying on the evidence so far, one's a top 6 in their line and the other isn't, they're both the exact same price. So I'd be grabbing Ranken.
Yeah. Tom, Geordie, you guys in agreement with that? Geordie, maybe I'll go to you. Obviously, been the Port fan. Tom just put the thumbs up, so he's agreeing with that. You've been the Port fan. Would you agree that Ranken is the guy, or what are your thoughts on the Farrell?
I own Rankin at the moment, so I started with him. So yeah, I mean, I think he's an unreal player. Yeah, I think he can go 90. It's a bit unfortunate he got subbed out, but I think he was probably on track for 100. Like he was on, he had 50% game time, I think. So
At least.
I think so he kicked the goal with about 7 and a bit minutes left in the third quarter. Obviously, he came on the bench. I could have seen him going 110, 115 in that game. They were obviously up by a lot. He could have kicked another goal or two in the last quarter. It could have been it could have been like a 40, 45 point last quarter.
Yeah, I'm pretty keen. I reckon Tom might be pretty keen on it because he's got the 4 forwards. I don't know whether he's got Rankin or not, but I reckon it might be the one that he might be missing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take Will Day to Rankin is probably one of my trades this week if I don't trade Stewart. So
yeah,
I think Rankin, is a tip.
Yeah, I agree. Jerry Davies has got this one. Tom, he said, would you go Day to Nevitt and Perryman to Nasai Wangani Miller? That leaves 300K in the bank to hopefully upgrade Sanders to Rankin and address Hasty's red dot, or should I prioritise trading Hasty's red dot this week? I guess obviously that would be over probably a Will Day, because I think Perryman on the bye is probably a bigger issue than a Will Day. So what are your thoughts on a Hasty red dot? Obviously the hope is that we hope he comes back in. Obviously Stocker and Hunter Clark were injured. Don't know exactly.
I reckon
Stocker.
I reckon there's a good chance. I think he went well in the VFL, and I actually don't think he was that bad in round 1. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hasty was in.
Also, I don't think he'll have the cash. I think the whole crux of the upgrade is getting the cash from Will Day down. So,
sorry, agree. Yeah, sorry, yeah, my bad. It won't be Nasai.
So,
It'll be Jaiden to Never or going Hasty up.
If Ryan Bice was playing this week, that would be an option to do Perryman to Bice and gain your cash that way. But I don't think you can trade into someone who you don't know is going to be playing in a fortnight. So I actually quite like the Day to Nevitt because they could be priced fairly similar in 3 or 4 weeks. So if Will Day is a great player, could put 110 up this week. He could, but I also think he could score 100, 120 points in the next 2 games, which is over 3 weeks.
And with the wet weather for Mitch Nevitt, could be some extra tackles. Obviously, he loves a cuddle, but
could be Cuddle City.
Yeah, but the Hasty red dot though, are you fine holding like if it's one red dot? Obviously, we've got Boyd as well, but if Hasty's like your only red dot and the rest of your squad, are you happy to hold him and sort of? I guess he's not like a Zach Reid red dot last year, right, where he's injured and he's not coming back. There's obviously played. I thought he was great in the first quarter when St Kilda was struggling, and something happened either at half time or something like that, and he got not only subbed out, then he got dropped completely out of the squad on the emergency list. So. Hopefully he comes back at some point. But yeah, fix the red dot is obviously cash is key. What's your thought?
I think so. I think Hasty is one of those. I don't see him as a dead dot. I see him as someone who definitely will play more football this year. He still has a decent break even. He still scored a 40 when priced at 23. So he's still got a decent break even that if he plays 1 or 2 more games, he can start making cash straight away. I think the other I really like the Nevitt and Wangani Miller trade.
Yeah, I'd agree. And at the end of the day, if you hold Perryman and you trade Hasty and you have to hold Hasty as well, and then like Perryman's going to drop more money than what a Hasty will, right? Hasty comes back, he's making money, or at worst case, he's not making any, whereas Perryman's going to drop. So I'd rather fix up the Perryman trade and hope that Hasty comes in within the next 2 weeks, and you can always move him to a Bice if he's in utility or someone like that at some point. So we'll keep going through this. Obviously, we've gone for nearly 40 minutes, and we've covered some good topics, but we'll go through a bit quickly through here these questions because there's plenty of questions here. So IT's got this one, Geordie. So he says Hasty and Stewart to Lindsay and Kane Farrell, or O'Sullivan and Stewart. I'm assuming that's Finn O'Sullivan to Lindsay and Sinclair.
I assume it'd be
I I like Lindsay Sinclair. That's cool.
You'd be.
So he's
you'd be
going
fine-
O'Sullivan.
So
to
Finn
to
O'Sullivan. You'd be
Lindsay.
happy trading a Finn O'Sullivan over a Hasty. Obviously, Finn O'Sullivan reminds me a little bit of like the Ollie Hollands. Like he's a good player when he gets the ball, but he doesn't call for it. He's not like a McKercher or a Sheezel. He's not, whether that's a confidence thing or that he's not been an accumulator in his juniors. Yeah, that's, I guess. So you prefer O'Sullivan and Stewart to Lindsay and Sinclair?
And sorry, what was the other trade? It was Hasty to Lindsay.
And Stewart to Farrell.
Yeah, that, like, you know, I don't know, like, I guess, like, Farrell's that mid-pricer option that, you know, Tom was talking about, whether you can push that 95, but you are fixing your red dot, though. I do like Sinclair, though, this week against Tigers. And then you get Lindsay, but yeah, that's a tough one. Maybe I'll stick with my first instinct, and that was the Lindsay Sinclair.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's literally fix a red dot or get the better player and trade a Finn O'Sullivan, who's break-even's 31 and he scored 33 last week. So hopefully better days are ahead, but yeah, it's going to be tough. Fee's got this question, Tom. He's saying a day to O'Driscoll or Nevitt. Firstly, who would you prefer out of the two?
O'Driscoll. But
Okay,
I don't trust Geelong.
Yeah.
That might be very wrong, but I just don't trust Geelong.
So if it's day to Nod and then Perryman to Nasai Wang and Mellera, or Hollands to Hall and Perryman to Nasai?
Put the question up, Bars. There's a big going on that one.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's quite hard. Okay.
That's helpful. So
yeah, that's great. I would be more, can I do Hollands to O'Driscoll or Nevitt and see who I can get to from Perryman? That's probably how I would look at that trade.
You'd probably do a Farrell.
Like a Farrell type, Dan Rioli type, someone in there, purely because I don't particularly I don't mind one. If you wanted to do one or if it's one or two, it's one. But I would be more. I'm not huge on the Saints defenders purely because of the run after this week. It gets harder. Like they've had Crows aren't that hard. Geelong are very easy. Richmond will be very easy, but then it does get hard. It does get a harder run for St Kilda.
Out of the two, though, it's essentially trading out Day or Hollands, and I think Hollands has got to go out of that. Yeah.
Yeah, out of the two, I think Hollands is a bigger issue.
Yeah.
I think, so.
And that's why. But I also wouldn't do down to Hall, like as the. That's my.
Yes, you're probably saying is there maybe one in the middle? Yeah, maybe you do Hollands to an O'Driscoll or whatever, or Nevitt, and then you on the other end you go up. So.
Is there much coin there? That might not be very much coin, but I don't own Hollands, but
be roughly 100k somewhere around
there.
If
it's 100k, 100k doesn't get you that far. That's the problem. In the defense,
it used to. My lord, it used to. Damn inflation affecting fantasy as well.
Well, no, this is the issue with week 3 trades on a general point. It's like the guys who have popped are they've almost gone now. You've almost got to try and find out who's going to pop next and get on them. I use that an example as maybe someone like a Chera. I own him. He's been great. He's got a 97 and 100. It's like really happy with him. But I think you've missed the boat now. I think you're trying to get to the next guy and not jump on a Chera because he's already made those 7 or 8 points. How many points more can he improve his average? And you've got a soft tissue-ish worry with someone like Chera as a specific example. So I think that's where these kind of weeks become hard, where you've missed the boat on some, but other people haven't started emerging yet. So it's tough.
I don't know if this is a mistake or not. We just got a massive super chat from Bailey Lolocides. Lolocides, apologies, but I probably butchered your last name. But thank you very much for the very, very generous super chat, mate. So he's got here. So his question, he's saying, hey, boys, Perryman and Taylor. So Perryman or Taylor to Humphries or Farrell, banking 100K, or Perryman and Taylor to Nasiah and Bice, Taylor being on the bench. Or could go left field and do Brayshaw down to Lindsay, Perryman up to Wang, banking 600K and playing a 2-rookie midfield. Already got Dawson and Rosie. So I think Bailey, I feel like I'm talking myself saying the name Bailey, but I wouldn't be doing the Brayshaw one. I think Brayshaw down that far. I don't know if I'd be doing that. But Jordox, where would you sit with those other options? Obviously, Perryman, Taylor, Humphries and Farrell, or Perryman and Taylor to Nasiah and Bice?
Let's see. Perryman, Taylor to Humphries, Farrell. All right. So what would be? So if you go Perryman to Farrell, what's next?
He's got Taylor. He's doing Sam Taylor to Lawson Humphries.
Oh, I read that as Perryman / Taylor.
Yeah, that's originally thought that, but no, it's the combo. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, let me get this. So Perryman and Taylor to Humphries and Farrell, or Perryman and Taylor to Wang and Bice. Oh, I see. Gotcha. Yeah, all right. So let's rule out the bit after or, because I don't think Brayshaw out is wise.
Would you? I feel like in this case, I think I'd get Lindsay. I'd do Perryman to one of these guys, hold Taylor on the bench, or even just play him for 1 week. Go get Lindsay and trade another rookie out.
Hold on. Let's answer it this way, because Bailey has been extremely generous. I'll answer the specific question, and then I'll hand over to Bales for maybe some advice on a better move than what you've put up. So I like Perryman and Taylor to Humphries and Farrell banking the 100. I like that out of the two, especially with Bice not playing this week. But Bales, what's a better way that your namesake could approach this?
Yeah, I think Perryman can go, and I think Perryman goes to, if you like Humphries or if you like Farrell, I'd probably prefer Farrell. I think he can be closer to the top of the line than what a Humphries can. Humphries, we have seen, can go very up and down. I still like his option, though, but I think Farrell is the safer pick. A couple of good matchups to come. I would then be looking at who you can go else to Lindsay. If there's if you've got a red dot, I'd even be happy if it's a Finn O'Sullivan. Finn O'Sullivan can go to him if that's fine. I would prefer to do that because clearly there's money in the bank, because he's saying he can go Perryman, who's 717 up to Humphries, who's about 50K, then Taylor up to Farrell, banking 100K. I would imagine there's a world where you could do Perryman to maybe even someone a little bit bigger. And if you've got a Hollands or someone, go down to Lindsay. I'd look at that, Bailey, there. That's what I'd be preferring to do. But yeah, if was to pick of the two options, I think that first one is where we'd be going. But thank you very much, mate, for the very, very generous super chat there. Probably the biggest one I've seen on the channel. So thanks, mate. Going through some other ones here, we'll go sort of an answer and then a sentence, and then we'll move to the next question, because I reckon if we kept doing this, we could be sitting here for 4 or 5 hours, which I think none of us would complain about. But I know that the people will want a shorter pod. Yeah.
Jordox, but the rest of us are fine.
Exactly. So next one is coming from Casey Werder. Tom, he says, should I trade out Perryman and Sardis, or leave Perryman for a week and drop Will Day because the Bedford tag?
I think you trade Perryman.
And Sardis?
Yeah. You can go Sardis down.
Sardis is injured.
Sardis is injured and you can go down. Yeah, I think you can go down to a rookie from Sardis and get Perryman to someone you like.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. Alfred Jones, Geordie's got this one. Trading Sam Taylor to Dane Zorko or Nasiah, which would you do? So would you go, we'd had this discussion a bit before, so would you be going up to a Zorko, or would you be happy with a Nasiah there instead and bank the 100K or so?
Both are unreal plays. As Tom said, Zorko's got this incredible run, which is, insane. Maybe you look at could there be a VCC there? I don't know what other options you got. I like both options. I think, I probably would I've got Nasiah, so I'm going to vote for that one. But nothing's stopping you getting Zorko on that run. And I don't know what captains you got, but yeah, maybe that could be one that if your captain's not quite popping, if you haven't got a Rosie or something like that, maybe you go the Zorko for the captain option because you want to pay up.
Yeah, I think I agree as well. That Bulldog guy won. Jordox has got thoughts on Day to Rosie and Hollands to Nevitt.
Oh yeah, that's tight like a tiger. I'd lock that in.
Yeah. Do you think Rosie's still a little bit of value?
Yeah, what's he at now?
1.05 million.
Ooh, I didn't realize he'd cracked the mill.
He's getting up there.
Yeah, look, I like the
7.4.
Yeah, so he's still climbing. And look, we don't know what Thursday night's going to look like. Essendon Port, but Crows had a good time against them. And, perhaps Port got their mojo back last week. Yeah, I could see Rosie going pretty well. It's at Marvel, isn't it?
Yes. Yep. Marvel.
Yeah.
A week after his
I
comeback
like it.
against Saints.
Yeah.
Geordie, I reckon there's a bit of feedback coming from your mic, I reckon. Like a little bit of a noise. I don't know what exactly it is, but I'm not too sure. Jezza53 said, Finn O'Sullivan to Lindsay and Perryman to Nasiah, but this means keeping Hollands and Day. Would you boys tick this off? So I'll answer this one. I would be... normally, I'd be fine doing Finn O'Sullivan to Lindsay, but I feel like I'd rather... If Finn O'Sullivan's on your bench, then I would be going Hollands down to Lindsay. But if Finn O'Sullivan's on your field... I'd probably prefer to hold. I'd rather Hollands on field over Finn O'Sullivan, put it that way, the way that Finn O'Sullivan's looked. Hopefully, he can get it going soon, but I'd prefer it probably a case of if he's on your bench or not. But I would prefer to go Hollands down, bank a bit of cash there. But yeah, it depends if he's on for your field or not. What do we got here? A lot of people obviously asking about going like Nasiah or like a Whitfield or a Zorko. Ooh, that's an interesting name. Riley Russell, Thomas, asked about Marcus Windhager. He said, should I go Perryman and Ollie Hollands to Sam Taylor and Marcus Windhager, or for Bergman and Nevitt?
Give me 2 seconds. I've got to do some Windhager Googling. Okay, so Windhager is a 753k mid-only. Obviously, he had a more midfield role on Max Holmes last week. I'm not a fan, if I'm honest. He had a good score on the weekend. What did he score? Yeah, 113. But I think every St Kilda player have scored 100, didn't they? It was ridiculous. All of them popped. They possessed the ball. I think they possessed the ball so much in that first quarter, that first half. A lot of players did well. What was the other trade that didn't involve Windhager?
Crap, I skipped away looking for the next question. Perryman to Sam Taylor and Hollands to Windhager.
I won't be doing Perryman.
That can't be right.
Taylor.
Wait. Oh, yeah, no. So should I trade Perryman and Ollie Hollands for Sam Taylor and Marcus Windhager? Definitely not doing that. I actually completely glossed over the fact that he was bringing in Sam Taylor. You're not bringing Sam Taylor in, or you're definitely going Bergman and Nevitt in that out of those two roles.
I don't mind Bergman as a. I'm not the Port guy on the pod, Geordie, but I don't mind. I don't mind having a punt on Bergman. He's someone who floated through my team in the preseason. Not being horrible. I prefer a Bowie, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's been the whole talk about the Port defence, who's going to take Houston role. We've had a couple of good matchups. Obviously the Farrell talk as well. But yeah, you could take a punt for sure.
Yeah, and definitely
just on
like
Windhager, Bales. Sorry, it's probably just a year early for the fantasy classic conversation for Windhager. He's had that midfield spot for a while now, and he's starting to get the scores and a bit more consistent. He's a good price, and if he was in the forward line or the back line, I'd say have a crack at it. But when you can go a couple 100k cheaper and get your Nevitts and whatnot, that's probably the safest bet. But you are onto something with Windhager. I think he's going to be pretty popular in our teams, but just not this year.
Yeah, I like it. Lauren's got this question. Hey, fellas, need your help. I'm going Finlayson to Lindsay and upgrading Day. Who should I go to? Tom, I'll go to you for this one. So Tom Green, Chris Petrarca, Jake Saligo, Tom Power, or Finn Callahan, looking to save cash to upgrade Garcia next week to Ranken. So we're in agreement. So that's a great trade if you can do that next week. If you had to pick one of those guys, where would you be going?
It's him. And I was waiting for him to come up. And I hate it, but it's Tom Powell. It just is. Like
you're not joining in on the you're not
joining
in on your namesake hate like the Hat Chat.
Oh dear me, I just can't. He's not that good. But I didn't watch the North games. I will hold my hands up. I was watching my.
He was very good.
He is that good.
Just watching, touch. Thank God he had a 20-point second half. I think I might have had to just quit fantasy. He goes 120 to start the year. I think it's Tom Powell. If you want to save cash as well, he's like 870. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm going there, but also keep an eye on Tom Green. Tom Green is he's had one game back, but I probably don't know if I'd launch him just yet, but he's a solid option there. Nugget's got this one. Geordie, thoughts on Jake Bowie as a genuine option?
Yeah, I think he's a solid option. There's probably Stephen May is a test this week, and he does take a lot of the kickouts for Melbourne. So probably the slight concern there with the kickouts, because that's obviously what Bowie has been racking up a bit. But I think at his price, if you haven't really got much to where to go, I think you can pull the trade, because you can hold him for a couple of weeks. Just watch on the May might hurt him, but I still think he's a solid option.
Yeah. Tim Ashworth's got a super chat here. So he's saying, thanks firstly, Tim, for the super chat there. He's saying, Day, Perryman, and Sam Taylor can go Day to a forward, but don't have much cash available. Any ideas, Jordox? What are your thoughts?
So what are we looking for?
So he's got Day, Perryman, and Taylor. Forward. Yeah, so he's looking to go to two of those guys out.
Yeah.
Where would you be going? I'm probably almost going, maybe Perryman and Taylor.
So Perryman and Taylor. So what's that? 700. What's Taylor?
610. 620.
Yeah. So what? So 1.3 to split between the two. So are we looking in the forward line? I can go Day to forward, no cash.
This is kind of me. While Jordox has a look, I'd hold Sam Taylor for a week.
Actually, looking at it now, I'd even go, if you don't have a Nevitt or a Nod, you go Will Day down to one of those two, and then you go Perryman up to a defender, and then you can deal with Sam Taylor next week. That's what I'll be doing.
I'd do what Bale says.
Cool. Another super chat here from Brooke. Thank you very much for the super chat there, Brooke. Thoughts on Tom Stewart to Carl Amon, Geordie? What are your thoughts on that trade?
Probably not for me. Yeah, he's got the bye next week. I'd probably look at someone else. How much is Amon actually? Let's just have a little look.
950.
950.
He's yeah, great start to the year, but
you got your boy Holmes.
It's probably
same that price.
Same area of Bailey Dale as well. I reckon would probably be better.
Yeah, it's just that you're trading in someone, then you're going to have the buy the next week. Stewart, I'll probably look at someone else there, whether it's a Holmes or Dale, as you said there, Jordox. Or
what about Salem? Do we dare?
Salem?
Do we dare? At 890.
Let's just throw even more fuel on the fire. Let's do Tom Stewart and get Chrissy and Salem. It's a happy just thinking about it.
Yeah, Salem's a tricky one. I've done it multiple times and it's burnt me almost every time. But then again, I started Tom Stewart, so who knows with this.
Salem's priced at 87, 88. I just think that's a lot for Salem. Yeah, that's I almost do prefer Bowie purely because he's priced at 67 with a lower break even. May will take some kickings off him, but the last 4 rounds of last year, May was playing and they were sharing kick-ins. Whether May wants to ease himself back in with with all the kick-ins, he kind of does what he wants back there. But Bowie might get some +6s off the kick-ins rather than just a +3 for taking them. So
yeah.
And like, if Stewart plays, if he's named, like, would you just hold, or would you still trade? Like, I think maybe there could be another. You could potentially hold Stewart instead of trading him and taking a punt on one of these guys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very, very interesting there. A couple of other super chats here as well. So Bondsville Wizard just put a super chat in, no question or anything there. So thanks, mate, for that one. And Bailey Lawless Cetus has put another super chat in. So thanks again, mate. Bloody hell, mate. We don't want to get you bankrupt, mate, but I very much appreciate the support you've shown tonight. He says, not a mistake, just love the content, boys. Us Bailey's got to stick together. Dying breed. Also, if I did do the Perryman and Foss to Farrell and Lindsay would be on the bench. I've got a deep midfield with Chera at M6. Oh, yeah, I'd be trying to find a way, Bailey, to be putting Lindsay on field. I think him and Levi Ashcroft are the two guys you want. So, yeah, whether that's trading someone else that's on your field there, if you might have a Hollands or a Will Day, I'll be happy to go down to Lindsay if that's the case. There might be someone there you can bench instead. So, yeah, very, very interesting. But appreciate your support on the show nonetheless. We'll go another 5 or 10 minutes with questions, but I'll just go sort of towards the bottom to make it a bit easier. So if you want to put your question in again, there's so many questions in here tonight. I'm hoping that our sort of deeper discussion on a few issues has been able to answer these. So what have we got here? So we'll go here. So Tim Ashworth saying he needs a forward for Will Day. So Geordie, is Ranken probably your favourite there, and just make a bit of cash from, if it's a Sam Taylor or a Perryman, just go down and just use that cash to go up? Or is there someone in the forward line you could go to if you didn't have any cash?
I reckon it's Ranken. Like, Tom's number 2 hat winner was looking at Will Day to Ranken, and I think that's a great trade. We might even get some guys round 6. Like, I was looking at some DPP. Nick Martin actually had 62% forward time at the moment. So if he continue that, we might have him. So there could be some guys that pop up. I think
Chad Warner's another.
Chad Warner's another. So I think if you can get Ranken and maybe run that one rookie. Also, Levi Ashcroft will most likely get forward status as well, same as like Sam Layla. So these are guys that you could even flick there as that rookie. I know there's a question about Lindsay, but, by the time we get to round 5, round 6, you could potentially flick Levi forward, have Lindsay on the field there. So there's a few options. I'll just be looking at getting them in. I think Rankin is your best option now. Maybe we assess with that DPP coming up.
Yeah. What do we got here? So that was a good question. Oh, yeah. So Matthew's got this question here, Tom. This is probably what you're looking at. Rankin with some DPP or Tom Powell?
Ranking with some DPP. Purely because my thoughts are Rankin probably scores 10 points less than Tom Powell, but Lindsay will, assuming Lindsay's on field, Lindsay couldn't score 25, 30 points more than Davidson, for example. Yeah.
And Tim Ashworth just followed up as well with the super chat here saying, I need a forward so I can get Kako Hall off field. Yeah, I think, Day to Rankin is the trade to be making there. I think that's what I'd be going for. I have to answer this question. Someone here name is Jordan Dawson. Whether it is Jordan Dawson or not, I would fall off the chair if it actually was Jordan Dawson.
Seems unlikely, Bales.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, don't kill the dream, Jordox. I can hope that it is. He says, "Hey lads, what do you think of Ollie Hollands to Tom Powell and Harry Perryman to Connor O'Sullivan, 293k in the bank, or am I making a mistake? If it wasn't against Brisbane in what's looking like torrential rain, I would normally tick it off. But I don't think you can go Connor O'Sullivan with the weather. I think it's a little bit too risky. I'd prefer, if you don't have a Never or O'Driscoll, go Hollands down and go Perryman up, personally. But I don't mind the play with it if it was just better. I just don't like the weather. So that's where I'd be sitting with that one there. Brett's got this one, Geordie. He said, do you go early for DPP players or wait on it actually happening? So I guess like Chad Warner's probably one that comes to mind. You're just waiting till they get this DPP and then jumping on?
Yeah, I think so. Like, for example, Chad Warner, he was at 39%. You got to have over 35. So it's pretty risky to go for someone like that. Someone like Nick Martin, obviously he's probably not in the price range at the moment, but he does have a lot more forward time. But I think you'd probably wait some of the rookies that, you know, might, like for example, at Levi, like he's probably going to get forward status. You know, these sort of guys are probably pretty helpful. So I think we probably need, you know, we get DPP end of round 5. So we've got, 3 weeks? Yeah, you'd have to be really sure, but I think just wait on that at the moment.
Yeah. Jesse Lucev's got another super chat. Thanks, mate. The super chats are flying in tonight. Bloody hell. Thanks. Appreciate everyone's support as always. He says, what trade should I look to do? Sam Taylor to Bice and Day to Dawson, or Garcia to Ethan Reed and Sanders to Ranken? Or would it be worth going Day to Saligo? So Jordox, what do you... Obviously, we both love Dawson, but is it at a point where you start him, great, you've got the scores and you keep him, but is he just too expensive, do you think, at this time of year to be bringing him in?
What's he up to price-wise?
1.122.
Worth every penny. Look, I seriously think, I don't know about trading out Sanders, like just out of this lot. I could see him going okay, because you got to remember what you paid for him. Taylor to Bice, I mean, Bice is off this week, so yeah, I don't know about that. But essentially,
do that next week. I'd rather just do it next week.
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah, but Day to Dawson, I'd be trying to do over Sanders to Ranken. Or would it be worth Day to Saligo? Oh, I like the Saligo idea. It's such a left field type. Hey, 868.
Go Tom Powell.
Yeah, I'd go Tom Powell over Saligo. Like Saligo's a great player, right? But there has been 2 great matchups. Crows have won, obviously, both by big margins. And I just worry when they come against tough opposition, only 50% CBAs. Dawson, Crouch, Rankin are the 3 main guys in the midfield. I just think there could be some scores where Saliga has 20, 25 touches, made 1 mark, 2 tackles, and scores a 75 to 85. So in saying that, I'd be going a Tom Powell around that price. If you've already got him, I think even a Finn Callahan could even be the play. Giants have got a decent run coming up as well. So that's where I would be going there. But thank you for the super chat, Jesse. Bailey's put in another super chat. He's saying his midfield here is Dawson, Brayshaw, Rosie, Petrarca, Powell, Chera, Nod, and Ashcroft. That is some midfield right there. A lot of money. Jeez. I'd almost be tempted. I don't know.
I'd be tempted. This is the only way I'd be tempted to trade Brayshaw.
That's what I was thinking. Like, and use that cash elsewhere, because you've got so many options. Because Petrarca, he wasn't amazing, but you're not trading. I wouldn't trade Tom Powell. Chera's still going okay. I would almost go Brayshaw to another player in another line, or Brayshaw down to Lindsay, and then use that cash for like a red dot or the worst rookie you've got, and go to a premium where you've got more rookies, and just do a restructure.
Why would you trade Brayshaw over Petrarca, though? What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I guess it's just the more money, and Petrarca's probably going to be...
To be fair, I don't know how Petrarca's done. I own Brayshaw. I know how he's done.
They've both got good runs, and Brayshaw does have like West Coast and I think Richmond. So I'd probably keep Brayshaw.
No. Melbourne's run is Gold Coast, Geelong, Essendon, Freo, Richmond, Eagles. I'm keeping track for that.
Is it Chera? Is it Chera then? Does Chera go out of that midfield?
Not yet. I think
I don't know.
A bit more.
I think you just play the break-even game.
Out.
I think I would play in the break-even game. I think it's maybe because I'm a bit jaded off the fact I had the tossed up between Dawson and Brayshaw, and I'm 100 points wrong. So usually I'm like, hold your premiums, but I think you can utilize that cash and play a bit of the break-even game. Get rid of Brayshaw, get Lindsay on field, and take a failed forward. You might have someone, maybe like a James Leake in your defence line. You can turn that all the way into something good.
I'd be dropping track still.
Bailey, because of how generous you've been, obviously this is for the normally Patreons, but if you DM me on Instagram or Twitter or something like that, I'll give you a free voucher code for the Ask Me on Q, and I'll give you the Q service for free, give you an audio response, and you can send through your whole team, and I can have a bit of a look and see what I do with that, just because of how generous you've been as well. So we very much appreciate your support, mate. We've got a couple more questions before we finish up, but we got another super chat here from Skills Cap. He says, Day to Lindsay and Perryman to Zorko. What are your thoughts, Jordox, on that? Already got Dawson, Brayshaw, Rosie, Oliver, Levi, O'Driscoll in the mids.
Day to Lindsay, tick. Perryman to Zorko. Yeah, I'm a fan. I mean, the wet on Saturday night makes me a little nervous, but yeah, I think we should probably just trust Zorko at this point. Like he couldn't have done it. He couldn't have done any more last year for an injury-prone guy who's over 35 years old. He played all 27 games. I think first season where 27 games have been a possibility. He played every single one, and yeah, I reckon go for it. Skills are cap.
Yeah.
Skills are cap. Go for it.
If I had to pick, this might just be my take. If I had to pick between Zorko, pivot from Zorko, I like Whitfield a little bit more than Zorko, and they're very similar priced. Whitfield's got a not probably as good a run as Zorko, but still a very good run as well. And I almost rather go there. Just you don't get the weather this week, and yeah, probably more just I guess trustworthy. But Zorko's been great, so if you're keen on Zorko's skills, I'm not going to talk you out of Zorko because he's got a great run. But that's just probably my take, or even yeah. So, what do we got here? We'll go one more each. I'll ask you guys one more question each, and then they'll do us because we're going for a bit long. And here's the questions here. We could be, as I said, could be going for ages. MMA fan has got this one here. Tom, I'll go for you for this one. Thoughts on Ed Richards as a bit of a pod?
Great player. I don't see him as a consistent fantasy player. And there's a lot of players in the next few weeks who'll be coming back into that midfield. I like him as a player, just draft for me. I don't see him as a classic, really. It's also quite expensive.
Yeah. And he could well drop off 140, and then we'll all be going, oh, we should have done it. And then he'll go back to 90s. He's just not there yet, Richards.
Yeah.
890. I prefer a Tom Powell.
Harley Reid's got this question here. As I said, we might even have Harley Reid and Jordan Dawson tuning in tonight. Who knows? But he says, thoughts on Sanders and Will Day to Ranken and Tom Powell. Tick, tick, tick for me. I'll answer that one. That's a tick all over for me. I'm loving those trades right there. Stephen Neal, Geordie's got this one. Tempted to trade Hollands and Perryman to Sinclair and a forward rookie, moving Sanders into the midfield means 2 rookies in the forward line, 2 in the mids and none in defence. Talk me out of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I love the Sinclair move. It's just, which forward rookie are you going to? That's the only thing. Is it that Clahisi from Geelong? Is he going to play? I know he's probably the most traded in this week, so I'm interested to see who he's going to there. Is it Ethan Reid? Is it Max Hall? I think that would decide it, but I do love the Sinclair, Perryman to Sinclair.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that's a good option. Skills as Zap said, Jackson's a forward good option. I would say no, because apparently Darcy could be playing football as soon as next week. So he's back within a couple of weeks. I wouldn't be trading him in with an expiry date as quickly as that there. And the final question, Jordox, I will choose. I
saw a question about Sam Draper, and it must have been meaning Sid Draper. Did you see that?
Oh, no. There's a few people that tune in regularly that love Sam Draper, and they ask about Sam Draper as an option. So he probably is Sam Draper.
I see.
So I'll go this for the final one. We'll go Irongate Sound has got this one, George. She says Cameron and Perryman. So I'm assuming that's Darcy Cameron going to Tom De Koning and Kane Farrell, Luke Jackson and Jack Sinclair, or Big X / Marshall and Fraser. I think I'd be as good as Sinclair is. I think Jackson's not the option you want to go on the ruck. So I've ruled that out. So you're going
chuck it on the screen. That my brain isn't functioning as it should.
So Cameron and Perryman now, I think is fine. Is it TDK and Farrell or Big X / Marshall and Fraser?
Geez, De Koning's looking good. I reckon the De Koning bubble will burst eventually. I reckon Cherry's, what's his score last week? The big
90.
X.
Cherry might lose the cash.
Well, not
There's,
this week though.
I'm DeConing and Farrell because I think there's a little bit like DeConing will still make cash. You can trade him out. Fraser, who knows what's? I hope he goes well because I got him, but I think it's DeConing and Farrell's probably a bit safer.
Safer, you reckon?
Yeah.
Than X or Marshall. I love the idea of. I love the idea of jumping on Marshall. What's he at ownership wise? He's got 13%. And he plays Richmond. Yeah. I reckon I agree. The second option, and I'd probably still go X, but I love anyone who takes a crack at Marshall this week.
I think Marshall's probably 5% owned in the actual active coaches. He'd be so lowly owned. Because no one will have started him.
So what we're saying here is that Geordie will go Jackson and Sinclair just to make it so everyone's gone an option.
Do it, Geordie.
It'd be great this week.
Yeah, I mean, Marshall's got Nank this week, so Nank gives up points.
Sure does.
Yeah. Yeah, mate, you can maybe go Marshall and Fraser. Go get Marshall.
I don't love the Jackson one, so I love Sinclair, but not the Jackson.
Yeah, agreed. It's a tricky one, but good question and good way to finish off the pod. So very much appreciate everyone that tuned in live tonight, and apologies if you did not get your question answered. There's 3 ways you can get them answered. So you got one, you can become Patreon, and that gives you free access to the Ask Me on Q service, along with bonus exclusive Q&As, which I'm actually recording one tonight. So if you guys would like questions answered, get in there and you can get your questions answered there. Or you can head over to askmeonq, spelled QU.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics, and ask your questions there with a personalised audio response. And you get your money back if it's not answered within 24 hours, or if you cancel your question. Or you can tune into our Friday Pre-Lockout Chat. We'll be answering a heap of questions there as well. So make sure you guys tune into that. And that will be a lot more of the rapid fire questions where we won't be really talking about any topics. We'll talk maybe captains, and then we'll get straight into questions. So you can ask them there as well. But appreciate everyone that put in the super chats, particularly, obviously, shout out to Bailey there for that massive super chat and a couple of others. And thank you to all the other legends that put those in. Tom, mate, thanks for jumping on once again for us. What are your current trade plans as of tonight?
As of tonight, I am doing Perryman a day out to Jake Bowie and Isaac Ranken.
Ooh, love it. Geordie, mate, thanks for jumping on it as well, mate. What are you looking at doing with your trades?
No worries. Hollands is the big one for me. I really want to get him to Callahan. I just think he's ready to just go the next step. And at the moment, I'm looking at Garcia down to a forward rook. I haven't got that many options. I'm looking at Ethan Reed, but yeah, I still want to have a little bit more of a look at that. Break even -3. Does he play with the backup ruck, and can he get to 400k is sort of what I'm looking at. That's where I'm at the moment.
Beautiful. Jordox, what are your trades looking like?
Well, I am cashed up, fellas, so I'm going spending this week. Although
before he's even said his trade.
No, I'm actually going down. So I've got Toronto. I thought I'd be smart and start him, even though everyone jumped ship pre-season. That's looking terrible. So I want to get off that ASAP. And I could go up to anyone, but I'm actually going to Tom Powell. I think that's there's a reason everyone's talking about that. So I'm pretty comfortable with that. And then I can pretty much go Perryman let's go Perryman up to anyone. So, Whitfield, Zork, or Sheasel, who I wish I started with. So, yeah, it'd be something like that. So very much fixer-uppers at the moment for me.
Yeah.
Maybe I go to Power over Callahan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably
prefer that. I would prefer that, Jordy, if that makes which. And I'll tell
that's coming from the Power hater in
Hollands to
Tom,
Power.
I hate Callahan more. Not as a footballer. He's an amazing footballer.
My trades, I've got 50,000 options. I've got to still work through and which one I'm looking at. But my favourite option, and the one that I think I could actually go with, is looking at going Perryman to Jake Bowie, and I had 370k in the bank trading Garcia out instead of Hasty when I saw it was a sub. So I can go Sam Wicks all the way up to Isaac Ranken and benching Sam Davidson, meaning that Caleb Daniel is my F6. So that's what I'm thinking of doing at the moment. But there's a couple other options I don't mind. So we'll see how it goes. But as we said, thanks for tuning in. Tom, where can the people find you on the socials?
I'm at Tom_X_. Ask me anything you want. I'll try and get to you if I can. I am quite busy at the minute, but if I can, I will.
Beautiful, mate. Geordie, where can people find you?
Yeah, just X Jordan DeSena. It's just the handle there. And Instagram as well.
Yeah, and you can also see Geordie and his brother Matt making regular guest appearances on the Keeper League as well, mate. Love your work on there. Jordox, mate, where can the people find you and the Finders Keepers pod?
Yep, so I'm on X at Jordox 2020 and Finders Keepers, yes, the new Keeper League specific podcast that's out this year. We had the episode reviewing round 2 drop this morning. Go and check it out and follow us on FindKeep AFL on X.
Yep.
At FindKeep AFL on X. Yep.
And make sure you go and follow. I'll plug it every time because it's a great service. Make sure you go and follow at AFL Subs as well. Put notifications on. It is so good. The hour before the game, you get notified with a twin notification, and you don't have to open up any apps or anything. Because we know the AFL app can bug out pretty much at least once a weekend, if not a few times. So yeah, make sure you guys follow at AFL.
The funnest part of that is, and our motivation every time, is to get the subs out before the AFL X page. So that's kind of the measure of how quick we can go. And we beat them sometimes, but yeah. But yeah, at AFL Subs, it is exploding, Bales. The feedback we're getting is so strong, and it's awesome. It's great to be able to, provide that, because it's been a bugbear for years finding the subs. So you don't have to look anymore, my friends. We'll find you.
Exactly. And you can find me at BAILSDT, and you can find us at AFL Fantasy Fans across the socials as well. I'll be back tomorrow because I'm back every day, as people know. We trade talk on YouTube, so if you guys want to hear my thoughts on the most trade in-out players of the week, head over to that. Captain's Thursday, and we're back on Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Perth time for our pre-lockout chat, answering a heap more of your questions, and we'll have all the teams and stuff there as well. So a little bit more information to help you guys with your questions and trades, along with all the watch-longs I'll be doing over the weekend. But thanks, everyone, for tuning in. If you are on YouTube now or watching the replay, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're nearly at 3,500, so we're racing towards 4K. So appreciate all the support there. And if you are listening on the podcast as well, we had our most listened to episode with Taser in round 1. That's our most listened to episode ever. So appreciate everyone that tuned in there. Please have us a 5-star rating and review. That'd be very much appreciated. And we'll catch you guys in the next one on Friday afternoon. So thanks, everyone. Have a good week. See ya.
See ya.